AM 1160 and FM 101.1. In the studio with us this morning, Janice Johnson, who is the Vice President of the Board of the Mahoning Medical Center, J. Lindsey Parks, who practices a little medicine there. Good morning to both of you.
Morning, Todd.
Good morning.
It's good to have you both in the studios with us here this morning. This is a big, big time for the Mahoning Medical Center and for the entire Marion Center community and the whole surrounding area. It's anniversary time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's our 40th anniversary.
40 years.
Yes. We started in 1977.
Wow. That is a lot of years serving in that community, and always in the same location, Janice?
Yes. It's a medical center that was built in 1977 in Marion Center. It began with a survey in 1974. Actually, it was conducted jointly by IUP and Penn State to find out the needs of people in rural Indiana County as far as their medical needs are concerned. Actually, 61% of the people said that the biggest problem was that they had no availability to doctors.
Yeah.
And 85% said that that was a problem, but not maybe the most urgent problem. So there were other problems involved with rural health care also. And 47% of them had never seen a dentist.
Wow.
So the problem was there, and the medical center was conceived at that point to take care of that. And there were several other ones built around the county at the same time for the same reason, to bring health care to rural people. And actually, it carries over these 40 years later to now, because we're going to talk to Dr. Parks. He's been with us for 40 years.
Yeah.
He has stuck with us and stuck with his patients and just has been a really loyal doctor to the rural people. But we can't find someone to fill the other half of that practice since Dr. Jacobson retired several years ago. We have an empty dental suite right now because our dentist who was there, Dr. Zawi, for 35 years, retired, and we can't find someone who will serve the rural area. So we still have the problem.
Still some work to do.
Yes.
Still some work to do. Dr. Parks, I keep telling you I'm available if you need me to come over and be the other doctor there. You've been my doctor for so long, and I feel that I'm obligated to do that for you.
Yeah, well, I've heard your reputation, and we haven't called yet.
That's not even thanks, but no thanks. That's just no. That's what that is.
No, that's friends for years.
40 years for you at this particular. Take me back 40 years. What was going on in your life that brought you to the Mahoning Medical Center? Because you're a local boy.
It's very interesting. I would say that it was God, and I'll tell you why. I was finishing my training in Philadelphia, and my wife is from Indiana County, so we were living in the Philadelphia area while I was doing my training. And we already had 2 children. So I saw an ad in the Philadelphia paper, NHS, and I thought it was the National Health Service Corps, so I applied. And what they do is they send you to reservations or to small communities or to different areas that need a doctor that might be willing to help with your loans. And here, unbeknownst to me, it was actually the National Health Search, which was a totally different private thing. And here, the board of Mahoning Medical Center had placed their name in that. And here I applied to the wrong thing and got matched to Marion Center. So when I realized that there's a brand new job here where my wife grew up, and it's a wonderful place to raise children, well, we came. And then after the practice got really busy in about 4.5 years, I asked the board if I could put an ad in a nationwide journal for a fellow doctor to join me. So we put it in the National Journal of the Christian Medical and Dental Society. I didn't put my name. And the one who answered was the guy that sat beside me in medical school for 2 years, Dr. Jacobson.
There is no such thing as coincidence.
No, there's not.
No, absolutely not. And so he worked there until his retirement.
We were together 27 years, actually.
What a wonderful guy.
Covered for each other and made rounds and took call and cross-covered patients. And Yeah, I miss him. He's
Yeah.
retired in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And these doctors are evidence of the fact that you can come to a rural area and you can have a very successful practice.
Yeah, you can carve out a life.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. Now, Janice, how long have you been with the medical center on the board?
I've been on the board 25 years. Things tend to last a long time in those little communities. And
Sure.
really, when you think back, it was a huge endeavor for a small town like Marion Center, who has 125 houses and 500 people, to raise $500,000
Oh, yeah.
to build a medical center. And it was done by little old ladies having bake sales and Lions clubs having auctions and bingo and different organizations and businesses just doing things that we do commonly every day, and raised a huge amount of money to put in a medical center. And we had a fabulous committee who worked on this. Jim Lazier was in charge of that. They had an architect who could not get the building plans to come within their budget, and he wanted them to get a bigger mortgage or go to Pittsburgh for a professional fundraising kind of thing, and they knew that was not going to work for them, and they knew they didn't want to go any higher in their funding than what they already knew they could do. We ended up getting some funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission and from the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, but we had to match those funds. And actually, the ones from the Appalachian Regional Commission, it was $360,000, and that was specifically for the first 3 years, where they helped to supplement the professionals coming in to supplement the cost of the building, because they had no idea how much it was going to cost to run it, and they didn't have anything planned for that at that point, because they were raising the money for the building.
Yeah.
So they fired those architects, and they they hired Mr. Erdman, who brought it in on budget.
Yeah.
And exactly the way they wanted it. They had to give up a few things, and we had to, make it a little bit smaller. But it houses, right now it's housing an IRMC lab. John Marino will take your blood, take an x-ray. They have someone coming out doing mammograms and all the things that you can do at the hospital. We have Mary Fletcher's physical therapy. We have, of course, Dr. Parks, and we have Dr. Jabber and his wife as pediatricians. Right now serving, and like I said, we still have an empty suite because we're having trouble filling that suite with someone who wants to come and practice in a rural area. And we're dedicated to keeping it as a medical facility. We could probably put something else in there, but it's a medical facility, and that's what, we're the only one that, of all the ones that were built back in the 70s, we're the only one that is still a nonprofit, run by a volunteer board of directors.
14, Janice. There were 14 similar buildings that were all granted Appalachian Regional funds to start a medical center. 14. And 13 no longer function as a medical center.
How about that? That's just an amazing thing. And the whole healthcare system, the community changes so rapidly, and especially now, getting it established and on firm footing so many years ago was the challenge, I'm sure. And today those challenges continue with the medical climate changing the way that it is. You've got a big celebration event coming up. We
do. We are celebrating our 40 years. We're going to have a festival out at the medical center. It's in Marion Center. It's on Neal Drive. It's on September the 30th. It's going to run from 11 to 2. We're going to have the Marion Center Band is going to present several numbers. We're going to have a small program. We're going to have food vendors, so you can come out for lunch.
There you go.
We're going to have some medical-related vendors. We're going to have some things for the kids. Each of the professionals are going to be there, so you can meet and greet, and they'll have some activities going on in their particular practices. We're going to have some really wonderful door prizes. But you have to come out and visit and see everything, and then you can put a slip in for a door prize. So there's going to be lots of things going on that day. Like I say, you can come out, and the program's going to be short, and then you can have lunch. You can do all the different activities. You can visit with your neighbors. We have, as you've already attested, we have a lot of people who are patients that come out from Indiana
Yeah.
and the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
We don't just serve Indiana. So we're just waiting for everyone to come out and help us celebrate that 40th. And at the same time, we're celebrating 40 years of Dr. Parks, too.
Sure.
He's the only one that's left from the very beginning.
Last man
Everyone else-
standing?
Yes.
You're the last man standing. 40
40
years ago, did you think you would be the last man standing?
No. And I miss so many of the people that used to work with and for me. I mean, I've lost some really dear friends, some who have passed on, some who have, Dr. Zawi, that we just loved, he and his wife Sharon, and he had to medically retire. And there have been a lot of changes. I mean, when I started, I was an employee of the board. Mm-hmm. They ran the entire center and paid us and did all the business of the building and the practices. But after 3 years, they realized that was something that they really just couldn't do. So they turned all the practices over to the individual practitioners. So now for the last 11 years, I've been associated with the Indiana Hospital in their physicians group, the Indiana Physicians Group. Mm-hmm. So they've been also very, very helpful to work with, and they work well with the board. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been, there's been a lot of transitions, but I'm still there, still enjoy it, still get up, want to go to work every day. I have 2 amazing people working for me right now. And I had 2 nurses, Myrna Orr and Barb Peffer, that Barb gave me 35 years, and Myrna gave me almost as much till they retired. And 2 of the most dedicated people I've ever known.
Sweethearts.
So I have been blessed.
I will second that, because we have always been recipients of their wonderful care as we've used the medical center also. Mm-hmm. And to go back to something he said, the wisdom of these country folks, the grassroots folks, has what's kept this medical center exactly what it is and what it's supposed to be, as a medical center serving the rural area of Indiana County. As he was going through that history of how the practices have changed, it's because these people wanted to succeed, and they're hard workers, and they're willing to do whatever they can to fulfill the mission of keeping that rural health care.
Amazing. Well, September the 30th is a Saturday. It's next Saturday, as a matter of fact. You said 11 o'clock?
30th from 11 to 2.
From 11 to 2. Everybody come out and celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Mahoning Medical Center and that fellow over there, Dr. J. Lindsey Parks. Thank you so much to both of you for coming in to visit with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank.